There is something I always talk about whenever it's close to the next election is about choosing leaders. We all know that the problem of Nigeria is a problem of leadership. Everybody knows that. It is the fact that the leadership is faulty, that the followers behave in the way they behave. So a lot of time that you may want to say, we will be the followers self, we get our own they do us, like selling of your votes and all those things that the people do. These are reactions to failure of leadership because it is the leadership that directs society. But there is a place that is left for the people, and that's the place of choosing leaders. How we go about choosing our leaders and the kind of people we choose as our leaders determine in all aspects the kind of leadership that we will get. Yes, we have a presidential system of government which is to be considered democratic, but is the president the only leader we have in our system of government? Because if you observe Nigeria for as long as you might want to have observed Nigeria, you will see that we all call on the president. Currently is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Everybody, Tinubu this, Tinubu that, Tinubu must go, Tinubu must resign. Everybody, let's use Peter Obi and replace Tinubu. Anything but Tinubu. It's the same thing we did when it was Buhari. Anything but Buhari. Buhari should do fast and go. When it was Jonathan, it was the same thing. Someone even told me that even if the APC presented a goat as their candidate, they would gladly vote for that goat than to let Jonathan continue as president. We are all focused on the president. There is nothing wrong about that, but I am saying that the president is not the only leader we have in the country. In fact, it is my personal view that there is much focus on the president is the reason why the other levels of government are dysfunctional. Because we tend to focus so much on the president to forget that we have councillors, we have chairmen, we have governors, we have state assembly representatives, we have federal assembly like the House of Representatives, we have the House of Senate. These are levels of government or levels of leadership that are as important as the presidency. In fact, to some extent, more important than the president, because a democratic system is a system of representation. The president doesn't represent the people. Most of the time, the president is there for international politics. The president is there as a link or a mediator between your country and the international system. That's why the presidential election is important to the international system. That's why someone contesting for the position of a president would have to go to Chatham House during the runoff to the election. And then whoever wins, whoever is announced winner before inauguration, will go back to Chatham House or one of those places where they go and meet with the Europeans and the Americans. That's why there are international election observers for presidential elections. They are important to the international system more than they are to Nigerians. So to say, it's not absolute. So the people who represent you are your representatives. The president is not your representative locally. That's what I mean. They represent you internationally. But locally, you have first the members of your houses of assembly. Those are the ones who are your representatives at the local level. Those are the ones that makes democracy, which is a representative government, to make sense locally. Then on the state level, you have, or let's say sub-state. When I say state now, I mean country. But let's say sub-state. You have the members of the houses of the, rather, sorry, house, one house, the members of the House of Representatives. Those are the ones that will actualize your goals at the federal level. Then going beyond that, the state itself is the members of the Senate. So you have 3 levels of representation that you have to pass through before getting to the president. But what happens in Nigeria is that we jump all of these levels and only focus on the president, who is focused on China, Japan, America, France, Indonesia, Russia. Since Tinubu got into power, haven't you asked yourself this simple question? Why is he always going to France? I don't know if he has gone to America. He went to Turkey the other day and fell down. He has gone to St. Lucia. He goes out of the country. Some people even think he visits Nigeria. How many times have the president traveled to your state? The much I know of Tinubu was that he traveled to Benue State during the Yelawata crisis for solidarity. He stayed there for a few seconds and left. And then he traveled to Anambra State for campaign, because in Anambra State, they have someone who is not a member of the APC, but who have accepted to align with the APC. So he went there to exercise dominance. I do not really follow the president. I do not know other places, other states he has traveled to since he became president. But I know that when he was asking to become president, he traveled to virtually every state in the country asking for your vote. But immediately he becomes president, he is traveling outside the country. Now, the people who are supposed to bring dividends of democracy to you are your representatives, the members of the House of Senate, the members of the House of Representatives. That one even carries the name representatives. The members of the House of Assembly of your state. How many people even knows the names of the people who are representing them in the Senate, in the House of Reps, in the House of Assembly? How many of you even know the names of your representatives? We all abandon those people. Those people are our connection. The governors always come whenever they want to cross carpet to APC. They will lie to you and say, we are doing that to connect you to the center. No, you do not need the governor to connect you to the center. The state governor's duty is not to connect anybody to the center. It is the duty of the member of the House of Representatives or the member of the House of Senate to connect their people to the center. That's their duty. It's not the duty of the state governor. Any state governor who said so was lying to you, successfully lying to you. So why don't we focus on our representatives first before thinking of the president? I'm saying this because in something that looks like democracy, the president doesn't really do, all of those things we think the president will do or should do have been settled in the National Assembly. The president will only have to sign it. Take, for example, the tax bill that became a law. It was discussed in the National Assembly, House of Reps, and House of Senate. It was passed. It wasn't the president who passed the tax bill. The president will only sign it into law. But it is what your representatives give to the president that the president signs. In fact, constitutionally, if your representatives give something to the president to sign and the president refuses to sign it, after like 30 days, it becomes a law. So why are you not focused on the real people that are supposed to bring the dividends of democracy to you? In fact, constitutionally, it is still your representatives that have the power to remove by impeachment a president that is not functioning according to the will of the people. So why are you neglecting the representatives? The electronic transmission of votes, it wasn't the president's making. It was your representatives that decides this is the kind of transmission we want. And the president signs because it was to his favor. So if we were actively following up with our representatives and not taking all the attention to the president, who is just one person, we would be better off a people. If we get our representative to sit up, they will get the president to sit up. But we do not care any little thing president. We are going into another elections in about 10 months or so. Who are you wanting to represent you? Are you going to return Akpabio to the Senate? Are you going to return Orji Uzor Kanu to the Senate? Are you going to return Ali Ndume to the Senate? And all of those people will return to the Senate because we do not focus on them. We only focus on the president who will finally return to the presidency. At the end of the day, we've made a whole lot of noise over nothing. And then we'll keep lamenting. Now, let me tell you something. I am of the opinion that nobody became president of Nigeria by the reason of an election. No. There is a group of people that determine who becomes president. in Nigeria. The only time Nigerians will decide who their president is if after voting for your candidate and your candidate is read out of the election, and then you all come out en masse to insist this is the person we want. As long as Nigerians have not had that spirit, Nigerians will never get the president from the desire of the people. Go and check. Have any president lost an election in Nigeria before? Like, I am an incumbent president and I contested election and I lost and I left. Someone else takes over. Has any president ever lost on their glorified candidate for succession? Like, I have completed my 8 years through tenure, and this person is who I want to become the next president, and that person contests the election and lost. Has it ever happened? No. You would want to mention Jonathan. Jonathan is a rare case. Jonathan is a case of a person who is 98% fearful. Jonathan is 98% afraid and 2% human. Jonathan is a different case. Jonathan is too afraid to man up to what it takes to retain oneself as president in Nigeria. They talk about my ambition is not greater than my ambition is not what the plot. That thing na gist. He is just 98% afraid. Apart from him, who else? But look at your representatives. Incumbent senators, incumbent House of Assembly and Representative members have lost elections repeatedly and have been replaced. A lot of them. What that means is that you can actually decide who becomes your representative more than you may ever imagine deciding who becomes your president. So why don't you start from the possible and then move to the impossible? Why are we jumping the gun and going, It doesn't make sense to me. There are constituency projects. The kind of monies that the government releases to you through your senators, through your House of Representative members, it's unimaginable. But we do not care. So they sideline those monies. Once somebody will go and buy 50 wheelbarrows, 20 cutlasses, 5 keke napepe, and then motorcycles, 20, and goes to a primary school, stands in the field, puts canopies, puts paparazzi, and say they are doing constituency projects or youth empowerment. That's like taking your hundreds and giving you one, and then you start celebrating. It's because we do not hold them accountable. We focus on the president. What about the state governors? Do you know how much they get in billions to take care of you in your state? Billions, especially in this Tinubu's regime. The kind of monies that the state governors are given every month That's why they all love, you see almost everybody, I think they have about 30 states now that are APC states. Why do you think it's like that? Because they love Tinubu. Tinubu is a performer to them. The other states that are not officially APC, you will see that there will always be rumors this one will soon join. They are APC in the dark because the president gives all state allocation even more than it has always ever been. What are the governors doing with those allocations? Nobody is asking them. We are all focused on the president who has given the governors the allocation that are meant for you, because the president is not going to be giving each other their own part of the allocation one after the other. They will have to give it to your governor to use it to serve you. How many of us have called out our governors that are closer to us than our president? Even the governors too, they can be replaced because the focus is not on them. We've had examples of state governors that lost election. We've had examples of state governors whose candidates lost elections. There are so many. What that means is that Nigerians can decide who becomes their governor. Nigerians can decide who becomes their House of Assembly members. Nigerians can decide who becomes their House of Reps members and senators. But Nigerians to decide who becomes their president, it's a tug of war. And I bet you, if only we can focus on our governors, our representatives, all those things we are wanting the president to do for us would have been done for us through our representatives. But those things are not done for us because we do not care about our representatives. It is democracy. Speak to your representatives. I have repeatedly asked you, have you tried to recall? How many people have tried to recall their representatives? You do not necessarily need to wait until there is an election, but you make all the excuses to them. Do not make the excuses. Try. You would realize if it will work or not only when you try. How many of us have tried? In the next election, if you're returning Akpabio, just know that you're returning someone who would work against your interest. Because working against total transmission real time of result is working against the interest of the people. And after doing that, you come back to look at our faces and say it was the will of the people. It was the will of the people, but the people were in front of your office protesting against their own will. Is that how much of a mockery you think we are? Well, we allow you to think of us that way. So I'm urging you, I do not believe in elections because I'm sorry, I the only the only time Nigeria would see light is when we start holding our leaders accountable, not necessarily waiting for the next 4 years to try to vote them out. So I do not believe in elections. Even before the elections, we can hold people accountable. Even before the elections, we can recall people. When you're only waiting for elections, things will be going wrong and you'll be waiting for 4 years. At the end of the day, the elections will be rigged and you keep crying, doing the same thing over and over again, and you're expecting different results. We do me this. It doesn't work. Elections or no elections, we are supposed to be holding our leaders responsible, holding them accountable. When we say no, we stand by the no we say. too much ado about the president. The president is just one person. You'll be dragging him, China will be dragging him, America will be dragging him, Russia will be dragging him, you know. He will become confused, and at the end of the day, he would always prioritize the foreign countries. I'm sorry, that's how it is. He will always prioritize them, unless you do not understand international politics. Nigerians are not directly the first priority of the president. It's like paradox. Nigerians are the first priorities of the president internationally. But then again, for that priority to be ascertained, the president will have to first prioritize the international partners. You see how tricky international politics is. So let us, even you are the people that say politics is local. So let us localize it. Let us start from that one they call the grassroots. You know, they've given direct access to local government chairmen to their statutory allocation, even though we know that the governors are sitting on it, but we can mount pressure on the local government chairmen. And when the pressure builds, the governors will stop sitting. It's just that the people just think they are armless because they are not carrying weapons. You are not armless. Your unity is stronger than their weapon of mass destruction. That's why they are interested in you not being united. The moment you are united, you don't necessarily need any gun. You don't even need placards. Just be united and say enough is enough. They can't do anything about it. That's why they don't want you to be united, because the moment you get united, they are finished. Can't you see how they are distracting you? Think about holding your representative. Those ones are, in fact, they have houses, they have family members that you know. Your Senate member, you know his house, you know where you can walk to his house. Your chairman, your local government chairman, your House of Rep member, you know their houses. You can pass through their gates. This is Akpabio's house. Do you know Tinubu's house? So the one whose house is within your locality, you don't want to hold that one. It is the one whose house you don't even know. Bodilion. Bodilion is in Lagos. You are in Uzuwani, or you are in Amorfia. It is someone who is in Lagos, Bodilion, that you're putting your attention. It doesn't make sense. Think about it and hold these people accountable. Apart from which, we will just keep making noises and they keep going away with it.